So failure is inevitable, and it's almost a necessity when it comes to becoming an artist and improving your craft. However, in the moment, it can be difficult to see the positives and super easy to become discouraged, especially when you're just learning. And as I was coming up teaching myself animation, I seemed to be faced with these situations quite often. One such time took place a little over a year into the whole process. By this point, I'd been refining my reel and had just completed a few freelance jobs for some small clients. So needless to say, my confidence in my skill set was pretty high at this point, and I felt a studio job was just around the corner for me. So one morning, I got an email in my inbox from a YouTuber. He had made cartoon videos based off of some video games, and he was looking for animators to help him out. He had seen my work and he was impressed, so he asked if I would be interested. And of course, I said yes, because at this point, I was feeling pretty smug. I mean, after all, I was preparing for TV animation. Surely this small YouTuber couldn't really challenge my current skills. But it seemed like easy money at the time. So I emailed him back and I said I'd be interested. We agreed on the terms, and he sent me all the files that I would need to get to work. And as soon as the project started, I immediately realized I was in over my head. Not only did all the work have to be done using Adobe Animate, which is a program I had never used before, but the character rig and animation were way more complex than anything I had done at the time. To say it simply, I was in big trouble. But I did my best. I researched tutorials on how to use Adobe Animate. I tried to figure out how to manipulate the complex rig. But in the end, I think I submitted what was probably the worst piece of animation I've ever done. It was choppy, parts were broken, the lip sync was way off, and on top of it all, I submitted it past our agreed deadline. So at this point, the smugness I'd felt going into the project had completely been replaced with complete and utter disappointment and dread. And things got even worse when the client responded. He told me he was extremely unhappy with the work that I provided him, and he had to go in and fix the animation himself. He said he didn't see us working together on any future projects, and to top it all off, he sent me a link to a video describing the basic 12 principles of animation. And of course, that's the same video I'd been looking at for the past year. And that was that. So with my ego badly damaged, I was feeling super crushed. I felt like a phony. I felt that all the work I had done in the previous months was for nothing. I'm not even kidding, I considered dropping the whole animation thing right there and then. Maybe it just wasn't for me. But the silver lining was, during that time, I actually learned how to use Adobe Animate, and I did get more comfortable using those complex rigs. Even though I blew my shot with this guy, there were still other opportunities out there. I basically just had a chance to practice a new program and new skills in a relatively consequence-free environment. So I kept pushing forward, and a few months later, it just so happened I got a call from a studio that asked me to do an animation test for a small show they were working on. And would you believe it, the main program they were using was Adobe Animate. And this time, I was way more prepared, and taking what I learned from my previous Adobe disaster, I did way better on this test. So good, in fact, that it led to my first ever studio job. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, don't let fear of failing stop you from trying new things and chasing new opportunities. Because without my huge failure, I really feel I never would have gotten my first job in the animation industry at all.